everybody. How's it going? I want to talk today about lighting. As we are getting ready to head into winter, lighting plays a big role in controlling hormones, homeostasis, and a lot of things. We are so blessed with so much technology that we can control our environments very much. And because we can control our environments very much, we tend to do things that we think are correct, but we don't understand how the body functions and how it's impacting the body. Now, most of us would believe, oh, we are never going to get technology that's going to be harming us, or they would let us know. Uh, Generically, we have things all around us that have a negative impact on the body, yet we continue to use it because this is technology that helps us do things and accomplish what we want to, but it may have a negative impact on our whole system and how it's functioning. So, lighting. As we are headed into the winter months, as all of you can see, we're shifting. We're getting darker earlier. We're staying darker later in the morning. So now some of you are getting up and headed to work. You'll never see sunlight because you're hitting work at the time that the sun's not up yet. And then by the time you are off work, for some people, it's already gone. Some of you may still be getting light in the evening or light in the morning, depending on when you go into work, because we haven't fully gotten there. But lighting, we forget that back in the early days, we depended on our lighting to be able to help us to know when we were supposed to get up, when we're supposed to have certain hormones released, digestive enzymes, when it was time to eat, all these things. That lighting helps us to know when we're safe and we can see things, or when it's time to go to bed and to be inside. So this lighting has always been something that's controlled and impacts. Our pineal gland sits in the center of our head and is connected to our eyes. The light that comes in through our eyes is sending a signal to that pineal gland. That pineal gland is then signaling to our hypothalamus gland. The hypothalamus gland is our homeostasis gland. It is regulating heartbeat, hormones, digestion, all the things to keep us in a good place. So if that pineal gland is not getting appropriate feedback, then that feedback is getting sent to the hypothalamus, and the hypothalamus is then regulating our hormones and our nervous system, and it's sending signaling to the rest of those glands as to how to function. So improper lighting, and this is something in the winter months, we tend to be inside more often, so our house lighting is impacting us. We are also in the dark and watching TV or on our computers or on our phones, and this is all impacting us. And so we're in the dark, we're getting an abundance of blue lights at nighttime, and we're not getting out and getting as much movement. So then our sleep starts to get impacted. When our melatonin's getting released, is impacted. A lot of various things are all coming into play that can have a negative impact on our hormones, our weight, our emotions, our homeostasis itself. So what can we do about this? So looking at the lighting we have in our home, the quality of light bulbs, most of the light bulbs we can get anymore are just not great. So, but looking at the quality of lighting, do I have to where I'm getting bright light in my eyes first thing in the morning? So while you're getting up and you're getting ready, I know most people don't necessarily want this, but having that bright light helps us to time to be awake, get that estrogen going, cortisol, things to get our energies up and going. This is why a lot of us want to be in the dark, and then we're having coffee to boost. But if we're overstimulating our adrenals too, we're now impacting hormones even worse, which coffee and all the stimulants that we're taking are jacking with our hormones as well and our nervous system. So getting up first thing in the morning, getting bright light. If you are someone who has the seasonal affective disorder, you're wanting to have a light that puts out that high light into your eyes first thing in the morning. Most of us can just attempt to get up and turn on bright lights and have us surrounded by all that good lighting first thing. If you're going into work later, getting up and then within 30 minutes going out and getting that sunlight in your eyes gets that going for you. The natural sunlight is the best, but we all have to adapt to the situations of work and school and things like that. There are lights. They're called the happy lights that you can get in, and you can set that on your counter while you're getting ready in the morning and having that, or having breakfast. Having those things shining in your eyes will help with setting out your circadian rhythm and the signaling of hormones, digestion, melatonin. Your sunlight in the morning will impact your melatonin releasing at night because that circadian rhythm is happening. So if we can have lights too that are dimmable so that we can reduce that brightness and get in more of an amber slash red lighting towards the evening. Most of us are also big with the blue lights. If we're sitting and we're staring at a computer all day, we're wearing blue light blockers. Really, we shouldn't be wearing sunglasses, blue light blockers, or any of those until like the afternoon and later in the day, because that's impacting again that signaling that's going into our eyes. So having lights you can dim at nighttime, turning on our night modes on our computers, TVs, phones, gadgets, so that we're not getting abundance of blue light, being able to take the red lights and putting them in the room with us if we're working on a computer or behind a TV or sitting somewhere where you're not necessarily that you're directly staring into, but looking in that general vicinity itself. Having those red lights will also help kind of balance that out. Dimming lights down, not having all the lights on in the house. I try a couple hours before bed to kind of turn everything down. I have dimmable lights in my kitchen, in my bedroom. I have dimmable lights. I turn off the main lights for the house or the rooms themselves and try to get everything to go more as a calming down. So that can be very helpful through all of that, getting the different types of lighting. Even getting out in the evening. If you can go out in the evening when the sun is setting, that's getting you that lighting that's telling you, oh, it's getting time for bed, things are starting to calm down. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night, getting outside, not just through a window, because a lot of times the windows have certain tinting that can impact if you're really getting the lighting or not. But getting that exposure to light as much as you can and having some time outdoors. I know in the wintertime it gets very cold and most people do not want to do it. However, it can benefit you greatly. So if you're somewhere where it's warm all the time, definitely find times to get out in the sunlight in the morning when the sun's come out. Go out your lunchtime even, sit out in the sunlight somehow if you can do that. Get out, walk. That is another thing that we're going to want to do is our activities are going to be a little bit less, but going and getting some walk in for 30 minutes, movement in can have a big help on preparing ourselves for winter. I know my previous post, I was talking about all the things that we should look at within our home to make sure that the air is good, filtration, what we're breathing in, all these things that impact us while we're inside all day are doing us good and not doing us harm. But this is specific to lighting. There are lights, and going to look, if you're someone who's trying to do red light, generic red light can help. But if you're trying to do specific things for skin and stuff like that, there needs to be, I think it's 500 nanometers at least to be able to have it have any kind of like skin health or any of that kind of stuff. I feel like I get that question a lot about red light therapy. It can be very beneficial for your eyes, your eyesight. But limiting, if you don't know, figure out how to turn on your night shifts. You can go in and program them. I have it on my computer, so when people are in my office later in the evening, at 7 o'clock, it kicks into night mode and the screen goes kind of orangish. So both the screen above that they're looking at and my computer screen that I'm looking at are shifting. So it's to not impact how well we're going into sleep and the melatonin production we are having and such. You should have that on your phones. Pretty much all gadgets itself. It's in the settings display. And then there's a night shift or night mode. There are even ways with like the Apple phones that you can go in and click it to where when you click your button 3 times, it shifts it to more of a red color or whatever color you choose it to be. So it is very important. This is something we often neglect to look at. It's something so simple that you can do to set up proper lighting throughout your house. And the areas that you're going to be in the most is like if you're in a TV room all the time, that's where you want to get in like your red light and shift the gadgets within there to go into that night shift so that it doesn't impact you negatively with going to sleep. Finding ways in the morning when you're getting there for everyone to have bright lights coming into the eyes. Obviously, we're not trying to strain the eyes, but enough lighting to come in to simulate that it's time to wake up and get moving and get that circadian. If you can get people outside for a few minutes, this is important not only for us as adults, but for our children. Sleep, I think, is a hard thing for all these kids with school and all of that. They don't get out in the sunlight very much. When they're having to wake up can be kind of early for some. When they're getting out of school, there's a lot of things that we're doing indoors itself. So finding a way that you can get outside for at least 5 minutes a couple of times a day, helpful, but also addressing and getting like dimmable lights, getting warmer lights for the evening. It can be fairly inexpensive. There are an actual light bulb. I wish I could remember the name. I might have posted it on the actual blog itself, but if you go onto Amazon, there's a light bulb it's basically set up on an app on your phone and it's following the lighting that would be outside and it's automatically shifting it. The light bulb itself can be one light bulb's like 50, $60. But I mean, if you use that in the area you're in the evening the most, it may be worth it. You don't necessarily need to put them everywhere or go and find some more of the amber lighting that you can dim or even just a light you can dim usually will have more of an amber tone as you're dimming it down. This is just one simple way to impact that pineal gland that regulates all sorts of things. It's your master gland that's signaling to everywhere else about sleep, hormones, digestion. It's how you can help support yourself to have a good winter. Mood will be very much those people with the mood disorders. Lighting is playing a very big role. That's why oftentimes I'll tell people to go to tanning beds or get some extra lighting. Again, you're wanting to do that lighting in the morning and get more of that red lighting in the evening and such there. So I hope this is helpful. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Have a happy fall, winter, and a healthy one too.